History isn't changed by wars. Sometimes it is changed by one person who chooses not to panic. September 26, 1983. The world is already on edge. The Cold War has turned into suspicion, and suspicion has turned into fear. Inside a Soviet command bunker, deep in the night shift silence, one man is on duty. Stanislav Petrov, a lieutenant colonel, trained to follow orders, trained to respond without hesitation. Because hesitation in the room could mean death. Suddenly, an alarm cuts through the silence. And not just any alarm. The system is screaming, missile launch detected from the United States. And then another signal, and then another. 5 nuclear missiles inbound. Protocol is clear. No debate, no delay. Report the attack immediately, confirm it to higher command. And within minutes, the Soviet Union would launch a full nuclear retaliation. A chain reaction. A war that cannot be undone. Petrov has minutes to decide. Not hours, not even time to fully think. Just minutes between peace and global destruction. And everything around him is telling him one thing. Trust the system. The computers are designed for this, the alarms are built for this, the protocol exists for a reason. But something feels wrong. Petrov thinks if the United States were to start a nuclear war, would they really just send 5 missiles? It does not make any sense. But what if he's wrong? If he ignored this and the missiles are real, millions die. And if he reports this and the system is wrong, everyone dies. In that moment, he does something almost unthinkable. He waits. He chooses not to panic. He chooses to question the machine. And he chooses to trust his own judgment over the system. Minutes passed. No explosions, no impact, no war. The alarm was false. A satellite glitch. A misinterpretation of sunlight reflecting off clouds. 5 missiles that never existed. And just like that, a decision made in silence possibly saved the world from nuclear war. No headlines in that moment, no applause. In fact, Petrov was quietly dismissed later. His actions barely recognized for years. But history remembers him differently, as the man who didn't panic when the panic was protocol. The story isn't just about the war. It's about the psychology of making decisions under extreme pressure. Because in high-stress moments, our brain looks for speed, not accuracy. We rely on systems, on rules, on patterns. And most of the time, that keeps us safe. But sometimes, blind trust becomes dangerous. And calm thinking becomes the difference between reaction and wisdom. Petrov didn't have more information than the system. He had something rarer. He had control over his fear. Most of us will never face a decision this extreme. But every day, in small ways, we face moments where panic tries to take the control. A harsh message, a sudden crisis, a decision under pressure. And in those moments, the strongest thing you can do is not to react faster, but to pause and think clearer. Because sometimes the people who change history are not the ones who act first, but the ones who stay calm long enough to act right. And if this made you think, tell me, have you ever made a better decision just by pausing instead of reacting?